Hey Leuven, and welcome back once again to Gary Grigsby's War in the East 2. We're playing the Grand Campaign. It's the fourth turn in my restarted campaign here. So we get the start of the Finnish offensive here. RAF raids, we've read most of these. Another air setback in North Africa. Or it's actually the first air setback. We didn't have a ground naval setback first, but... partisans become active as well, and we get mutual assistance. We've read all of those. We're done there. Let's take a look at the order of battle real quick. So for us it's 3.337 million men with ex-allies, and then for the Soviets it's 3.355, bringing our total forces to a total of roughly 7,500, slightly less, and for the Soviets 4.74. They do have a bunch of units here reserved though, just like they have a bunch of tanks and well, pretty much everything in reserve there. Next up for the losses screen, we lost 20,000 men already in the current turn, and for 56,000 in total. Soviets lost in total roughly 800. 15,000 tanks, 800,000, 15,000 tanks, and almost 4,500 AFVs in total. Most of our men are disabled. For Soviets, most of them are captured. Looking at what we have captured in terms of equipment from the Soviets, we see something similar to what we did previously. So nothing super special or fancy there so far. Anything else that really stands out from the last time? Not really. Just the flame tanks. Some old models. B5, BT5. Things like that, but yeah. None of these are also used either, so there's nothing special there. Anyway, that does mean, well, let's quickly take a look. Victory points are up to 437. We have initiative, high watermark, sudden victory points 700. Total men for the Soviets climbing. Guns as well. AFVs going down. Aircraft stagnant for the moment. Manpower losses, gun losses, AV losses, etc., etc. Fuel stores going down for us. That's I did find this a little bit alarming over the long haul, but we'll see how that goes. At any rate, we I made a little bit of a mistake here. Apparently Vilnius itself, actually, if you look at the rail line, is not connected, which is great, because that means that this is actually not linked, and well, I mean, I can link it this turn because I have the forward rail unit. And then this forward rail unit is gonna link this, and this. But then the problem is I have this rail unit here. Can't really do a whole lot. Well, I mean, it can take these hexes towards Polotsk, but the problem is that they don't actually work, because I need this one to go to Minsk and then go for the double rail all the way back to Vilnius first, before these guys are gonna move up with the double rail there as well, towards Orsha. So these guys have a ways to go before we actually have the rail link up. Either way, Army Group North, I actually want a fairly large portion where I want to do recon. Now that at least, the rail at Dagov, or the supply at Dagovpilsk, is such that I do want to send airplanes there now. It's a level 2 airfield. Certainly Well, the thing is that soon I will have to go and isolate Tallinn. But the question then is, do I want to work a rail line up to Parnu or Tartu? I don't actually think so. I think what I might do is try to get those planes over to Pskov at that point. Fliegerführer Osse and KG-1 and potentially more planes to try and wrestle air power from them. At any rate, let's move because Koloft 18. I mean, this is 77. Rail at Jacob, or there's no Jekabpils rail line working. If I go to Jelgava, I would need another depot. I could send them over to Ventspils. That could work. Let's do that. Yep. And I'll resupply. It doesn't particularly matter. So the one at Memel at this point, like it would have to go with the rail again down there. I don't find that particularly useful. Same for the one at Lipaia. If the rail line would actually be working, this would actually be nice. But currently, I don't see any reason to keep these depots. So I'm certainly going to remove the one at Lipaia. Well, I can keep it at 0 for now there, because if I eventually do repair those railroads, I might actually get it going again, just so that we can get supplies through that way. The same applies to Memel. There's no air unit there anymore. Let's have them empty their supplies, and then we'll keep it at level 0 for the moment. But that only applies to units like that. Now, we have Koloft 16. I do think they should be going to Daugavpilsk. Yep. So they're transferred to resupply that airbase. And I'll have them do recon over this entire area. I want Koloft 16. They don't have that many units left anymore. Already. Let's actually go to Koloft 16. Assets priority medium, supply priority, pilots, planes. Well, they should be fine, I think. We'll see when they get reinforcements. I don't need that much. Anyway, Koloft 16 goes in there. Let's. I basically want them to go and take a look at this area around here. So I'll put it over here with an area of 4. Let's take a look. This is fine. I can already see these, so it's not as if I really need to take a look there. Let's actually set the hex 1 over here. Let's have them just go for 2 days, so day 2, day 6, or let's make it day 2, day 5. High altitude. Let's go for 20,000. And that's it. So, yep. Okay. Then I will also send the Koloft 4th Panzer Group over here. And They have 2 little men, but let's go for recon. And I'm gonna do that up in this area, kinda. So let's go for Call of the 4th Panzer Group. And let's select this. Can I actually even... No, I can't even select that as X, unfortunately. Let's go for area 4 again. Let's see how that looks like. Should be fine. $20,000, 2 days, and sure. Yep. Okay, how full is the Daggerpilsk airfield anyway at this point? I already confirmed it, yeah. They're at 47, so I don't necessarily want to send more. What it also means, let's see, because I do have quite a few airfields here now, and not necessarily all of them are useful. Transport Group North is only at Insterburg, so I benefit actually from having a bigger one at Insterburg. I can actually drop this depot because there's no more airfields here. In fact, I'll keep the one at Insterburg and at Tilsit probably, but the one at Insterburg should get to a level 3. What do I have in Tilsit? Is it Koluf North? Yeah. Alright. Koluf North in itself, well, the one at Tilsit is only at 18. And the one at Insterburg, how are we at Schippenbel? It's a level 1. Because I would get the one from Schippenbel over to Tilsit. I would already overburden them by quite a bit. But it would allow me to abandon the Schippenbel airfield. Which is probably better anyway. So then they'd be going to Insterburg, huh? And Tilsit. So Tilsit is too full now. No, they're at 40%. I don't know what their problem is then. If they're at 40, it shouldn't be that much of a problem. Right, we'll see. That's a bit weird. So let's take a look. I might just have way too little supplies. That's kind of weird. Anyway, we do have KG1 fleet for Osse. They're gonna stay there, and we do at least also see that it's interesting that first Flieger Corps, as it is, and Air Fleet 1, they just they move together with that stuff. So if I were to move KG1, then first Flieger Corps would also move, but Riga is kind of full, so just like Daggerpilsk airfield. Maybe soon I'll be able to put units to Polotsk, but I don't think so. Alright, so that's the north. We do have some units at Minsk, but I believe that's definitely the furthest we can go for the moment still. Obviously, we have to keep in mind the rail line and the potential supply issue. Actually, I can send some to Branovici, and there's a level 4 depot there now. So I should probably send some. Branovici is level 2 airfield. How are we on the recon? Not that great yet. So let's see which of the recon units I can send there. First, let's get the call of 3rd Panzer Group. They have a shortage of men, which is unsurprising. So the 3rd Panzer Group, let's try to get some more. You're never gonna make that. That is quite impossible, I think. Yeah. Minsk airfield is already at 71. Well, it's actually a bit surprising. I don't have a depot at Brest itself. I would actually think that Brest is probably a better place for a depot than any of those. So let's put the Brest depot at level 2. It's more in line, like it's a definite transport hub. So I'll destroy this depot. Because I don't think it's that important. Wow, call of 2nd Panzer Group. That's a lot. Let's send all of those planes to Vilnius. Okay, I think they come to the right a little bit better at Vilnius if it's all of them. So I mean, they can't really do recon yet, but at least they're not only somewhat close to the front, it also helps me like deal with these airfields a bit better. Also, like for Koloft Center, which has a huge amount of airfields right now, I don't think that's going to be worth it. So let's send them to these 2 air bases. At this point, they will need to move up anyway, but it does mean that at least around Warsaw we're using a few less. Which planes are there? There's the transport planes. It's Transport Gruppe Mita. I do dare say that I actually don't really like the places they are at, but I feel like I can't really transport them this turn. If I were to have like a good depot at Brest on the next turn, I might transfer them all there and then start lifting from that position, but currently that doesn't really work, and to be honest, I feel more like I should be putting a depot at Minsk and flying from these areas over to Minsk at that point for this turn to get that depot a little bit more beefed up. That does seem to be the best case at the moment there. But it does mean that I'll have to leave Transport Group Mita over there. Transport for the 9, or Koloft 9 can stay there. Koloft 4 is going. How are we doing at Baranovici? 31, so I could actually send Koloft 4. Yeah. To let them get a move on. There's no place for STG 77 in the Yakostrader 51 at the moment. Maybe if I were to have like a Orsha or yeah, Polotsk is already questionable, but I just need to move my rail line forwards before I get to move any of those yet. So for the moment, I think I'm going to leave it at those. And the question is, do I want to do recon or anything else? Well, the problem is that I feel... Well, actually, Koloft, the interesting thing is Koloft 2nd Panzer Group is for this one, and 3rd Panzer Group is for the one up there. So that's a bit weird. But I'll have the Koloft 3rd Panzer Group actually do a bit of recon. I think they can. That's for the 2nd Air Fleet. Koloft 3rd Panzer Group. And I want them to do it in this area, so I'll put on this side, because I might actually swing south with the Panzers. So I kind of want them to go and look at this area. 2 days, 20 altitude. And if I can get some escort missions, then I actually will. No, I actually don't like escorts on recons at all. Actually, I'll do 1 day. I think they'll be fine. There are a lot of recon planes there, and I don't really need to see what the units are, but only where. And I'm kind of interested to see whether doing recon for 1 day actually works. Anyway, they're coming from Baranovici, so I don't see specifically why they would fly to Ospovici first. I also want to take a look up here with that recon, because for example, from Dagopilsk, you gotta start at Dagopilsk, and you're starting at Dagopilsk too. Okay, perfect. Okay. That deals with the 2nd Air Group. Now, there is no airfield at Zolochev, but there is at Lvov. So at the very least, I should send Koloft 6, which is the furthest away, at a plethora of airfields. Ridiculously enough. No, I actually want them on 1 airbase. And seeing as the railroad is almost at Proskurov, I actually want to call off the 1st Panzer Group, and I want to get them to Proskurov. I think they'll make it there. I wonder if they'll be overburdened. Yes, they will be. No, they're not. Okay. No resupply possible, huh? I guess I'm not gonna use them for that then. That's fine. They'll probably get supplies, etc. on the next turn. In fact, I do find that Air Fleet 4 in that sense is in a worse shape because of all these big pockets and things like that, having only the single rail. There is no place for something like the next Yakka Schrader, etc. I don't really need to do recon for them, and since I cannot bring up the planes, the only area where I kind of want to do recon is over here. So I'll send Luft 11. Mostly over in this section, because if I'm gonna send the Panzers, I might be able to go through here or around whatever they have there towards Nikolaev. And for that, I actually need good intel. I will go 2 days. At 20. At a bigger area. Yeah, 4 is okay. I don't need to necessarily see what's in Nikolaev because well, I don't want to say I'm confident they'll have a unit in there, but it is very likely they will. Yeah. Let's confirm that air directive. Okay. I don't have... This is not an airfield. This is an airfield. I could send out Yakka Schrader 77. Move them a little bit closer. That might actually be pretty decent. Let them use these 2 airfields. And... that way they're a little bit closer. It's also level 4 depot here, so that should be pretty decent. Yakka Schrader 77 is actually, yeah, it's part of Fort Flieger Corps. That's good. Do I have... I forgot, I think, maybe... I don't know whether they arrived. 73rd, can I actually see that? No, this, yeah, this is turn 4. 73rd, oh yeah, whew. Okay, they arrived this turn. So did I miss that 73rd infantry for all that time? But I didn't, okay. that would definitely be a disaster. Now, Yakka Schrader 52 is currently at Stefanesti. There's an airfield there. It's kind of a mistake since there's no depot on there. I'll have to try and move them. I don't want to say as soon as possible because we don't really have any other place to send them to. It's not as if the railroad towards Tiraspol is already working, so can't really do anything there. I'll work it up, but yeah. Alright, that's it in regards to that. Now I want to, for a quick look at the commander's report screen, and I actually want to only take a look at my air forces here. And the way to do that is to go to air. They're all on automatic. Replacement. No replacement. Oh, I think it's normal replacements. Yeah. Okay. I might... I'm gonna read up between this and the next turn what the difference is between normal, restricted priority, and trained pilot replacements. I'm actually quite curious about that, as I'm not actually sure. Let's take a look at the Axis reserves here. I should be able to send... No? They are training, right? I think. Let's actually take a look at the logistics phase report. I wonder if it's only about freight. I'm consumed in RB pilot training. 11 aircraft were lost in RB training incidents. So there, yeah, this is actually the first time that I'm showing or looking at the logistics phase report. I'm actually interested to see what kind of stuff is out there. So supply needed, supply requested. They requested more. Supplies lost. I see. Depot freight data. Okay. Trucks used. So unit trucks used is this. Trucks lost in freight is this. Total freight losses. Soviet trucks captured. Okay. Depot trucks. They actually did use cargo ships in the Baltic. None in the Black Sea, obviously. Interesting. Okay. This, I would think this is somewhat less interesting. Like they have some upgrades here, but going over all these upgrades is not necessarily the most useful. It's like just building stuff at some point. No oil, apparently. So I wonder how you're then supposed to deal with this. Like there seem to be a lot of places where there is fuel and oil need, and there's just none. And I wonder whether I would need to build depots there. I mean, there seems to be no oil in Budapest for 7 times fuel. And then if I go to Budapest, there is a depot there though. Or is there is a depot. Yeah, there's a level 3 depot. So then they're kind of claiming that there's no oil. Maybe it's because this rail system is overloaded and they can't really transport the oil there. I just don't know. Like, that seems to be a bit confusing to me on that. At any rate, let's run that air execution phase. I think, yeah. Let's take a look. There will not be that much business since there is that, and I'm not running any ground support or anything like that. What's up with the sortie? There's no sorties at all. Why didn't any of them fly? Like literally none. Or they cannot fly at 20,000. That might be too high for them. Let's see if I made a mistake there. That would have been really dumb. Let's see. Well, obviously I'm still making mistakes here. Let's take a look at that airbase. And so let's see. They have maximum altitude 26,000 though. So what is the problem? I'm not gonna reload that turn. Let's see. I did select this. No. It's a shame sometimes it's hard to see why certain things are happening. Okay. Like that's kind of weird actually. Oh well. Yeah, let's start with the rail. So I did talk about how I kind of messed up that rail up there, and that obviously sucks. I cannot actually get to Vilnius in one go, so I might just as well continue working on this this here rail for the moment. And just work my way towards that Vilnius hex. I mean, I will get over here and repair those 3 parts. So technically there will be a rail line towards Daugavpilsk there. But... So repairing this or this is useless. If I go here, I would get a rail up till here. That doesn't help me. I could try to work on the rail line over here, then to Volga, and then up to Pskov. That would give me a second line. That's not even such a bad idea. I could also then, what I could do is work it on these, and then through here it will, no, that doesn't work. And this one also goes down in a circle. So I really would need to use this one to work its way up. It does require an entire turn. I'd rather actually just work on the double rail. So let's send them there. And for you, you did repair this one now. I think especially for now, the double rail is going to be most important. Even if this one hex is not actually working. So let's keep going. And they wouldn't be able to repair anymore at this point anyway. Alright. As usual, I want to start working on the encirclements first. Should have moved these guys up too, that was silly. Well, I guess we can surround them for the next turn. What I'm gonna do though is I want to go through these mountain passes and take those territories at any rate. Not too pleased with that, but let's keep moving. They also have units over in those areas, apparently. Okay. should be able to get these guys to surrender. And now... maybe... no. Okay, so they're probably just gonna retreat into the city. They actually defeated, or made it so that this rail hex is no longer working. Which is unfortunate. Let's retake this. Apparently they had some AA depots there. Kind of weird. Huh. Okay. Not too great, but I think ultimately we'll get there. Slowly but steadily we'll be able to beat them. Could use the Slovaks for a few more attacks. I mean, if I'm close enough anyway, I might just as well attack. That ultimately does seem to be a pretty decent solution either way. Trying to get rid of them. And if I can move a unit forward and then still attack, like here. Especially on those tanks, that's a pretty decent option there. Okay, these are all part of the 3rd Romanian Corps. Let's make sure we take as much territory here as possible. They're not surrounded, so I do... have to wait with any potential attacks. If I move you in here, they can actually move around, which is probably the better option. They must have a unit in here too if I didn't get this. That much is certain. It takes 4 to move through 1 hex. I think I'd rather cross the river then. And for example here I could take this, that would get me more territory ultimately. And then here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is as close as I need to get. You need to switch though, but we'll take care of it. So, as far as the Romanian railroad unit goes, they'll be working their way up to Tiraspol. Probably, yeah, let's move you up like that. They don't have any units in there, but okay, so I can actually send these over here and then attack that. still move a hex. Okay, not bad. And then the 4th Romanian unit can actually cross already. Okay, so I want you to move through here and attack that machine gun artillery battalion. For the machine gun artillery battalion, it doesn't really matter whether they surrender or not. That's not really a thing. Okay, so I got their next airfield. If they could cross, I would have done so, but that does not seem to be the case. I'll move them in here in hopes of getting a potential smaller encirclement in this area too. Doesn't seem to be the case. If they don't take any of these hexes, there must be a unit in here. So apparently that's not gonna happen. Let's try to get closest to these as possible so that when they move there will be an actual encirclement. Let's get you to Tiraspol. It's not close enough. This is. Okay. Excellent. Up to a certain degree, I guess. Let's get the 4th Romanian army over in here then to help out that depot. This empty Romanian corps will help here, and the 2nd Romanian corps, which is empty, will help at Galati. Do I have unfrozen Romanian units? Always want to take a look at that. No, but I do have a German infantry that I will need to take care of. I could put them under the 54th Corps. That seems to be the closest, so I'll do that. They can actually go out of the rail here. That's actually pretty good. And I can also immediately put them under the 54th. Now the 54th is an interesting lot. The 54th is going to assault Odessa. I want to grab Odessa a little bit faster this time. Okay, I'm going to have to do some reshuffling here. But those heavy howitzers, they're at least the super heavy howitzers, they're going to be under the 54th. I can't put them there for now. It's too far. Huh. Right, I'll wait for a sec. So, let's just go for a regular movement. And... okay, so none of these can actually encircle Odessa in that sense. I'll have to use the tanks. Let's do that. I also need to get to the Ochakov port. It's probably a much smaller port. I can't see what level. It's a level 1 or yeah, level 1 port, whereas at Odessa it's a level 5 port. So anyway, they're technically cut off, at least for now. And yeah. Okay. Now, unfortunately, 5th and 4th Romanian and 3rd are completely overloaded already. What I would need to do here is to make you part of the 3rd. No. I actually have to work the other way around. So for this cavalry corps, you need to be put under the cavalry Romanian corps. So they are then overburdened. Which means you can then take the 1st guards. So then the 5th Romanian Corps can then take the 1st Romanian Armored Division. Which is probably not a good deal for them, but it should work. Anyway. This is the only unit that can move slightly further. It's not that beneficial. There are only cavalry units in here currently, so in that regard, if they have a unit at Balta, I would kinda need to recapture it. They don't. I also need to expand on this encirclement, as small as it is. But let's start working with these guys first. So let's do this, and then launch a heavy attack, because apparently a soft attack is too tough. Kinda thought that based on the odds I would be able to make it, but that wasn't the case. And let's start moving them towards this area. So as far as this security unit goes, they need to just keep moving in this direction, taking those hexes. I'll move this security to take these hexes and work their way through the swamp. So first, I think it might be useful to try and see what territory the Soviets are actually willing to just freely give up here. So okay. Another thing that I think might be worthy to look at in that sense is the capture dates, because historically the Germans kind of moved into this area quite quickly, despite, and not down here, like this is August, but we're here a lot earlier, whereas here we're actually kind of late already. So it's kind of crazy at that. Most likely these security divisions indeed can be pushed back through this way. That's 2 hexes in between, that's good. Okay. They routed, excellent. For those security divisions, I don't expect to have to do a hard attack, to be honest. Okay, let's get these guys into Venitza. That should help. Excellent. Okay. Interesting that no planes were lost for them either, that way. They seem to have another rifle division, so let's just clear these for the moment. So these guys are moving up towards Korsten and Zhytomyr through this way. They are well placed, even though they're very far from the supply depot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In that sense, I guess this is slightly better. Since I'm not going to build a depot at Ravno anyway, I want to get the HQ as close to the rail line as possible. And to the depots as well. Yeah. Okay. This would be 3, this would be 5. I don't like doing the soft attacks, but if I get both of these together, I think a soft attack at that rate has to work. Kinda did. Sweet. I mean, the losses there are not particularly great, but they did lose quite a few tanks. So, in those terms, at least that is somewhat rewarding. Again, retreated, huh? I'm quite sure that if they were to be attacked one more time, they'd rout. Let's see, because... that didn't even cost any effort. Let's move them a bit forward as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, this is as far as they can do, and to be fair, I kind of need to get 6th Army out there now. At the very least to Zolochev. There's practically no way for me to do that, so what I need to do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's also always 6. the way I could do it is to put you under the 44th. Like this. And then you can just go into the 4th. So now, again, at least all of them are under the supply command. Now... one thing that I could do is trying to get the 1st Slovakian Brigade into Zhytomyr. If there's no unit in there, I'm quite sure they'd make it. They'd be isolated. But I think... no, they just have really good manpower, but still. I'll keep them there. So I think, yeah, I'll never get to Chorus, and it's not as if they can then no longer move, and they do have this rail going in here. So in that sense, I don't really have a whole lot to fear, but I do think they're very likely to go in retreat with the capture of Zhytomyr itself. What is the capture date for Zhytomyr anyhow? July 9th. So even now I'd be too late. That's crazy. Well, I need to work my way up to Popelnia anyway for the double rail at this point. Again, I could try to swing south, but it kind of just stops at Odessa. That doesn't help. For next turn, at the very least, I want to be able to move all the way up here. I might even try to still beat this unit at Berdichev in order to have a much smoother transition over up into the north. Maybe. So currently let's get rid of them. Let's start with that. And they'll probably have a lot more units, but the fact that I can move these guys and attack with a hard attack, that is quite good. Now, at this point, I kind of want to then take a look what's out there with you. More units. See, that's fairly tricky. To be fair, one of the things that I want to do is move into Balta and launch a soft attack against that security division. But I need a unit that can do it, and to be fair, it's a bit of a shame with the way they're moving. In fact, I think I'd rather use the 239th to take Balta here and then launch an attack. I guess they routed. That's a bit unfortunate. But the reason why I'm doing it is because I want to have these hexes. So doesn't really matter. There's a unit in here. That kind of sucks, because I know, but that's not the biggest thing. I can put a unit in here and then I'll be fine. Okay, so first of all, 11th Panzer kinda needs to wait a bit. I need to move towards Ochakov, but I think that what I want to do is get these guys over up in here. And then just let them rest. Seems like there's a unit here, but I want to keep the encirclement. So... I don't know how many units they have in this particular section, so... Another thing that I think is probably in my best interest is to move them here, get the 11th Corps, and use a hard attack on you. Get out of there. And for them to shatter, that will probably work nicely too. Now the reason why I want that is then indeed that should allow me to secure this just a little bit better. And now there is still a unit here. Huh. Okay. Fair enough. It's also not as if I can actually beat a unit like that at this stage. Let's see though. If I go in here, there seems to be a security division. That... probably shatter, yeah. Interesting indeed. Doing this turn without recon certainly does have its positives and negatives, I guess. This is it is quite interesting at that. So the thing is, say that I would just go around, right? And say there's nothing in this area, then it will be like 26, 23, 20, 16, 13, 10, 1, 2, 3. They would be able to get around to this hex, which is not even that bad. One other thing I can do is get rid of that naval brigade. Although it wouldn't surprise me if they have additional units in here. I'm just doing some attacks that are ultimately going to allow me. Like, they have both a rival and a tank division. I would have to attack with 2 and or 3 units in order to get these guys to rout. If I do that though, I might be able to push through here and around to get some sort of an encirclement on the units in here. But if I go all the way around, I might be able to encircle more, but it will be a bad encirclement. And many of the units might be able to escape. Although there is no more rail line except for this rail line, so either way I'd want to cut that off. And I do have plenty of chances to do a hard attack with the infantry that has been given to me. Not with you though. I'm saying there are plenty of units. There actually are not plenty, but there are some. The thing is, I do not think that 2 would be enough, so actually let's go for 3 and not take the motorized. certainly do need a very heavy attack here. 58 tanks. Okay. At this point, it does not seem like I'll be able to break through here, and an encirclement seems to be a much better alternative. Because yeah, I'm sure you would be able to go around, and probably that would be for the better. I now have no unit that can attack out there, but you would only take that hex, but you'd kind of at least exert a zone of control over the unit at Pogrebiche. That could be quite helpful at that. There's no unit that can move in between these guys. Right, let's at the very least go and encircle them. I'm not saying that this encirclement will necessarily succeed, but I do think it is worth doing, so... Now, I will need to work my way up from here. Not really sure how powerful that unit is, obviously. The Leibstandarte seems to be currently the weakest of the units. But with that being a 1, I might be able to get away with a soft attack even. But since I want to move up the at least a motorized unit, let's also move up that and then attack, just in case. Fair enough. So they have a much larger amount of units than I had expected in that region. And that's of course the unfortunate thing about not being able to encircle. It would suggest that I need to defeat these units here. I'm ultimately not so sure whether they are actually that powerful, but I'm reluctant to not do a heart attack, to be honest. Yeah, they're just 50 indeed. Okay. Okay, so with that attack, it does seem like the road, at least there, is now clear. Of course, it's tough moving through here. But I think, yeah, you'll be fine. So this would be 741. You would not be able to cut it. 7, yeah, okay, so I really need both the motorized and this at the best. There seems to be some room for me to move these units still, because not only can you at this point move up. It's mostly about this though. Like the thing is that if, well, the further I move away here, the better for me that ultimately becomes, because it means that it's going to be much harder for them to ultimately break that encirclement. Can I still cross from here? Yes, I can. So like this. And you can also cross here. These guys can move quite a bit forward still, while at least in some places retaining a distance of 2. How likely is it that you can get into Gorovgrad? You could get into Gorovgrad if there's no union there. Quite honestly, I think getting into Gorovgrad would be a pretty good deal by now. Yeah, okay. Gorovgrad is no Krivoy Rog. That's still pretty reasonable. It's a prize. Still, I would say. All right, so I think like most certainly I want to move at least a unit up in here. First of all, let's actually route this unit so that they can't come back that way. And if I want to keep a unit, at least 2 hexes like that, I would have to move it in here ultimately. So in order to do that, I can now do this. They have a unit in Corson. Okay, fair enough. Let's just stay here and keep it like this. It's not a bad encirclement, and there are a lot of units in here, so the only area that I'm a bit scared about is that that 1 hex here, and it's not as if I can really put a unit in there. Now, there are other things that I could potentially now do, like go around here. And 17, 14, 11, 9, or no, 11, 8, 5, 2, 14, 11, right? So let's try to 17, 14, 11, 8, 4, 1. So you'd never be able to get the Krivoy Rogue. Because ultimately I also need units to move forward here. And you guys would 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would work. But I cannot put any units specifically in there. Can go there though. Let's take that depot. Just get rid of this. They lost a lot of planes. That's quite nice. Sure, I'll take it. This core is okay. Let's see. I have to say that even for the south currently it's a bit of a mess, but we're getting quite close now, at least to already Cherkasy. One of the other reasons why I really like moving up from here is because at least then we are somewhat keeping up with the rail unit. I mean, the rail unit's now going to move up for at least a turn, if not 2 turns. And in order to get any supplies to the tanks, we kind of need to keep moving up. And of course I need to actually get this rail line. I'm quite sure that the Germans will rebuild some form of defensive line around this rail line, and I need to capture it in order to get through those supplies. So yeah, I'll have to work with that. So if I move you in here, I guess it will allow me to move these tanks. Not really necessary to move them up into Kirovograd. How useful would it be to move them anyway? Because if I just leave them there for this turn, and if I'm basically there's a problem here in the center. Let's just face it. Like if they move up in here, they could technically get away. And since I can't really move up that well yet, that is a problem. Actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this unit on the depot, and I'm gonna have them on refit. They need to gather combat prep points anyway. Problem here is that the rail line is also not yet working up until any further. So again, for the first Slovakian, I could move them down. Let's do that for now. Let's launch a heavy attack on those tanks. I'll put them... Well, they're under the Slovakian course. I guess that's okay. These guys are already under something else. 59th. Let's move you into Proskurov, and the same works for the 94th after I've moved these. These also have no more combat prep points already. They're completely out. This calf. to be honest, I'm thinking it's probably better to do this currently. Down here, lest they want to go around. Like I don't think this is This sucks having some of them out of reach, but again, I can't really do a whole lot against that for now. What do we have here? This mountain core. Well, like I said, I want to move my units forward, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 5. Just kind of have to hope they don't do anything there. I do want to take this and then move this cav over in here. Now, currently I have these tanks here. I actually just kind of want to keep them there, so they'll get some combat prep points for the next turn, and they'll be a bit more powerful. They're currently at 11. They'll probably then be at like 18 or so for the next turn. So I'm okay with that. There are a lot of tank divisions in here, which I also like. Yeah, I'm quite pleased at that. So this is, of course, a bit unfortunate, but also with the additional territory that I'm taking here, I hope to be okay. At Odessa, at the very least, I want to get one unit right next to it in multiple places. Let's go in here. What level fortress do they have currently? Level 3. Well, like last time, I will kind of leave them an opening to escape. They actually have quite a few prep points still. Now, I currently have all the units under the 4th Corps, but I guess, yeah, I'm not gonna attack this anyway. It doesn't really matter then. As far as I'm concerned, though, you only have 2 and you have 6. So why should I keep you under the 30th? And I can actually empty the 30th at this point. The 11th. You should be put under the 11th then. So they'll be overburdened, but I can put you under the 30th Corps. As far as the 11th Army is concerned, I actually want to move it here. And now maybe I can put those heavy artillery under the 54th. Yeah, I needed to get super close. What I'm actually looking for, though, and I'm uncertain of where it is right now. I don't care about this flak. The thing that I need... Are you in the OKH then? Still? No. What I want to look for, maybe I just haven't done it, maybe I forgot, that could be a thing. Then I need to move them now, as I need to go to the report screen. And I want to select the artillery. Artillery, and then I want to look at the amount of guns. I want the least. I want the siege mortar batteries. Yeah, I haven't transferred them. I need to put these under the 11th Army. The siege mortar batteries. Okay, they're actually on the 6th. These are the coral siege mortar units. So I want to put those under the 11th and then under the 54th to help with the siege of Odessa. There are Hungarian heavy artillery battalions and something like this howitzer. Yeah, that's okay. I don't necessarily need those, but I wanted to put those under there. So let's get these heavy ones and put them under the 54th. Anyway. Not this though. That heavy cannon battalion is... I don't really care. Heavy howitzer, mixed artillery. I'm gonna give the 30th 2 more artillery at least. But I'll... Oh, that was the wrong one. But I'll deal with support units, etc. on the next turn, because I was gonna do that later. Doesn't need to be done now. Anyway, I have pretty much 2 options. One, yeah, you cannot reach that. So this core, there are actually a few units. Yeah, this unit, which is not under. Anything, okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the furthest they can go while staying at the rail. Okay, there's a unit on the 4th Panzer Group that should be unnecessary. Let's put you under the 3rd Motorized, which is currently not overburdened. And next turn I'll put a supply hub at Vinitsa. Once again, we're huge ways ahead from the rail line down in the south. I think in terms of supplies, etc., the south is really the absolute worst. Do I want to keep moving? The thing is that with those tanks, they could otherwise... I mean, I guess they could escape. Let's just see what we can do, because there seems to be a potential at least also to take still some territory. Which is always good. This would just give me 2. Let's go back. I don't want to spend too much fuel either for no reason. it would be great if they get to move again on the next turn quite a bit. That should be back here. Moving across the river like that is obviously not amazing, but I think actually getting this part of the rail line still does help a bit. Alright. Let's get the cavalry through. Yeah, okay. Third Romanian army has they claim it's 16, but they have more corps than yeah, they have those too, okay. Sure, and now that you've deposited those, I kinda wanna get these guys back. Over here to help with that depot. Anything else in the south? There's this corps that can actually help with depots. Now, at this point, I have these which are way out of line, so let's go in here, and now yeah, they're as far as they can go. That's fine. Let's put the one at Lublin at 1, low priority. Since by this stage they are low priority. I have a sensation that there's gonna be trouble there. At any rate, this is again a pretty long turn. Obviously the first couple of turns generally are. Alright, not too bad though. Let's continue then with Army Group Center. And trying to clear out this this pocket. Sweet. And if I move with any of these units, you could stay there. There we go. That did not help that much in moving. It seems like they have something there. So we got the area around Białystok. Looking to try and get the depots, so if I move in through like this. Okay, didn't get that last one. Getting to Grodno is probably too much to ask for. So I'll use the security to weed out any potential units still. It seems like there's still another mechanized in there. that's okay. I think I can almost clear out the entire pocket by the next turn. And you can still take 1 hex. Sure, why not? I don't think that mechanized can move anymore. But what I can do though is just get you there to lock them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That gets me 1 hex closer to any potential working rail line. Okay. Next up, let's get these guys moving. Also, kind of whenever it's useful, which is not the case here, so unfortunately there's also a lot of actual walking they need to do. But I still think this is okay. So let's move you into Boranovici. And, well, most certainly I'll move those army depots. Funny that they are 6th army units working on the rail at Brest. I really want them to go and work down there. That's why I put them on the army level, but at least they're doing some stuff over here, so that's okay, I guess. I do not have an actual unit anywhere there. Let's try to get you to start attacking those units at the rear so they can move and still do a heavy attack on that tank until it's gone. Good riddance. And with that unit gone, there's no unit in here obviously, so let's just get them there and then see how I'm gonna be able to proceed. So another unit that I want to move and still be able to do a hard attack over here. Where's your HQ? Excellent. So I do really need to clear the territory around Warsha. That would be great if I can do that now already. Okay. You have 6. It's the 13th. So you're also part of it. Let's move you in here. That should take all of those hexes, and then yeah, you cannot move into that hex. But let's move up here, which is furthest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is closest to the rail line as I can do at the moment. Yeah, let's use you to take that. If it's the furthest you can go, I just might as well. And start moving my infantry towards Smolensk too here. There's no way I can get all of them connected, so I'll just move as much as possible. For the infantry to catch up, it does certainly take a while. You see, you have a lot better movement to go forward than this unit, and to be fair, for the moment I actually need units up here. So I might actually... I actually think it might be better to get a unit like this up there. So obviously I'm not gonna attack this, for example. Rather, I'll just keep a unit in Vitebsk or something along those lines. None of these units can actually attack when they get there. That's also... one of the interesting parts. I could get into Mogilev now. That might actually be for the better, just to have the 7th go in there. And then, since they're so much separated, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, I'm trying to keep as close to the actual rail line as possible here. When I'm working it up. I'll be putting a depot at Minsk to be sure for the next turn as well. Yeah, currently don't really need to put any units in here. If the Soviets think it's a good idea to move in there, I guess they can be my guest. It would just mean that ultimately they'll be encircled, so we'll see. At least this time I don't have an excess of tank units over at Veliki Luki. That was a disaster last time. Yeah, I guess for most of these, it's really indeed just moving forward. So there were some that can get into Smolensk, the 129th. And that's great because it would free up the 18th and the 12th Panzer Division. I can keep Smolensk with one division. That's not going to be a problem. The biggest problem is kind of like keeping the flanks and stuff. The fact though that I get these now to go in here is pretty good. Yeah. So as for his tank. So technically what I could do is I could switch, so I could put you under the 20th, and maybe that's really best for now, because then I'll get this unit into Vitebsk. Where did the 6th Infantry Division historically go? I'm actually quite curious. Of the 9th Army Group Center Division took part in heavy fighting on the drive to Moscow, advanced across the Volga River at Kalinin. north of the Russian capital on late November. It was in an exposed position when the Soviet winter offensive began, holding 16 miles of frontage, when the average division supposedly could hold only 6 miles. Successfully against a determined assault, the 6th nevertheless repulsed several Soviet attacks and gave ground only gradually, while both inflicting and sustaining heavy casualties. The 6th infantry remained with the group center for the next 2.5 years, fought in defensive battles of the Rzhev salient, and in March... I'm just gonna read all of it, it's pretty interesting. Of the following year, took part in the 9th Army brilliant retreat from the Rzhev Bulge, a maneuver that freed a dozen divisions from a very exposed position. In July 1943, after a brief rest period at Smolensk, it saw action at Kursk and Orel, and in defensive battles on the middle of Dnieper, was smashed near Mogilev. During the Soviet summer offensive 1944, which also shattered Army Group Center, most of the division was surrounded, with the 34th Corps and forced to surrender. Enough of the 6th Infantry Division escaped, however, for the High Command to recommission a skeleton division in the autumn of 1944. It was organized in Troop Maneuver Area, Truppenübungsplatz Sennelager, near Paderborn, from Rhinelanders and Westphalians. The new division included 1,100 survivors of the old 6th Infantry Division, most returning wounded, plus the entire 552nd Grenadier Division, with which it was merged to form the 6th Volksgrenadier Division. It included the 18th, 37th, and 58th Grenadier Regiments, the 6th Artillery Regiment, and the 6th Engineer Battalion. Its Grenadier Regiments, however, only had 2 understrength battalions each. Initially designated the 6th Grenadier Division on July 25, 1944, it became the 6th Volksgrenadier Division on October 9th. Meanwhile, it added the 6th Fusilier Battalion, the 6th Flak Company, the 6th Tank Destroyer Battalion, and the 1006th Assault Gun Battalion to its table of organization. The rebuilt 6th, which was never more than a battle group, was sent back to the Eastern Front, took part in the retreat through Poland. It fought at Warsaw and Radom, and was in action on the Vistula in December 1944. In the last campaign, the remnants of the 6th Volksgrenadier fought in Silesia and Bohemia, and was part of Field Marshal Ferdinand Schroeder's army group, which was surrounded by the Russians at Deutschbrot, east of Prague, Czechoslovakia, in late April and May 1945. It surrendered to the Red Army on May the 8th, 1945. Alright. That was a long read, but I actually really like that they do that stuff here. I'm quite impressed with the amount of additional stuff that they put there. I really like it, actually. Yeah. So like turn 4 we did this. If you're looking at turn 8, we're looking at potential line up here then. If I'm lucky.